done with the, well, I wouldn't really call it done, but just got finished with the first break and the intro. I'm doing one of those deals where I am kind of just rolling the intro right into the first break. So, not a lot of really track is going into the beginning. So not not too complicated, nothing too fancy, and I don't know. Past that, just kind of get this track together. I will. I'll probably end up getting together some other stuff later. Like I'll probably end up adding some other crap to it. Maybe some synth arrangement. I don't know. Maybe some other part of the track. One thing I learned recently is just to kind of treat each 16 bars as its own little individual area. Well, I've known that for a while, but um, I'm kind of paying more attention to it. Let's say so. Yeah, that's how it's going. Right now, I'm just shooting some links around and stuff, Facebook and whatnot. That's how it goes. You can't do much unless people watch you, I guess. Well, nobody watches me anyway, so one of those what's the point type deals. It's all good though. It's all good. We're gonna work on this together, and then we're gonna stop working on it together. Cool. Now that I've got that done, womp womp womp. Get rid of you. Get rid of you. Cool. Boop. Boop. Cool beans. No, we clipping our ASIO already. Processing. Too much processing. All right, let's get the old beeper rolling. Gotta love it. We're at minus 22. Ain't too shabby. It's actually pretty quiet. A lot quieter than it used to be. Let's take a listen. I was going to do something with the intro, some kind of kick stuff. And I still plan on doing that. So don't be surprised if I play around over here before going anywhere else. And don't be surprised if I just play with synths for like, I don't know, fucking 3 hours in a row. I tend to do that too. All right. Yeah, that's my bitch right there. The question is where to affect it. And I'm thinking that at the kick and verb level, kind of more or less affected there. Cool. I have all these bypassed. I have no idea why I have these bypassed. No idea. Let's go ahead and take this limiter out of here, though. The gate, I don't understand the gate there either. This is going stereo out. Okay. And the kick is there. Okay. is going there. And then the kick verb is going there. What I would like to add, I don't know why the gate is there. Is glitch. Now glitch is MIDI controlled, or I can record it, one of the two. Thinking I might actually want to just record it. And we'll make a new audio track. We'll call it kick plus verb edits. We'll drop this below. And we'll drop it even one below kick plus verb reverse. Nah, I don't even care, honestly, between the two. But we're also going to need a MIDI track. And our MIDI track is going to control our glitch. I don't know why, but I can't think tonight. Tonight's not a good thinking night for me. So there's kick glitch. Hopefully I spelled it right. Sweet. This is going to connect to our glitch too. Fantastic. Fan-friggin-tastic. And this is going to go right here. And we are going to draw our MIDI area. Now, with glitch, you always want like a baseline scene, because glitch kind of runs off of these scenes. And depending on what you touch, you can change the scene. See how I'm at scene 85. And scene 37's right here at C3. C5, which is C3 over here, I don't know why it does that. Maybe it's in the settings or something like that. I'd have to play around with it. And I really don't feel like playing around with it. So I just kind of go, okay, scene 3 is 5. Now that I realize it, though, there is no... Yeah, whatever. There is no setup. Oh, okay. So I'm going to go and just set up scene 61 as my main scene. So it's going to be pretty blank. That's all it's going to be is blank. But D5 is going to be my scene for this glitch effect that we're going to do. Now you'll notice I'm only going to affect one bar, but I have a 2-bar setup going on. So there's D5. So 1 bar is going to kind of be my C bar to clear it out, or it's going to be my first scene, and then my second scene right here is going to be my scene that sets it up, or that does the glitching. So if we play it, you see how it switches between 61 and 63. This is the way I use glitch. It's the way that I found glitch works best. I don't know, if you got a better way, let me know, and I'll definitely use it. when I'm first writing in the glitch, I'll just loop that one bar, but sometimes it's not quite on point, so you have to kind of roll the whole thing to kind of get a feel for how it actually is going to record. Kind of digging that right there. So let's drop this guy back, and then what we're gonna do is our kick plus verb edits. Kick plus verb, and that's gonna go stereo out, and we're just going to record. Remember, in or out punches, in, and there's out. Where is out? There is out. We're gonna take loop off of that business. And this guy is pretty much record ready, so let's hit it. See how it continues on like that? Yeah. Means we have to go back to our blank scene. So we're going to extend this part out right here and copy and paste this guy over, and we're golden. What we can also do with glitch is just kind of automate pretty much just automate when it comes in and out, but we're not really going to do that. We're just going to kind of use it when we need it. And right now we don't need it anymore. So let's go ahead and turn it off. Save ourselves the CPU. Come on, buddy. There you go. Cool. random beeps. I always get asked about the random beeps. The random beeps is basically protection of my intellectual property. I write tracks. I have the copyright for these tracks once I'm completed with the song. What I don't want is people coming onto my channel and going, hey, I've recorded this, I want to use this kick. They can probably still get away with it, but I just have the beeper in there so nobody kind of rips the whole track. It's kind of more or less protection on my part. Not saying that everybody's going to do that or that, you're going to do that. But just that it kind of helps me out in that regard. I'm more or less more jazzed about teaching people methods and techniques and ideas and concepts rather than going, hey, look at my track. Hey, look what I can do. Or, hey, look at this sound that I made. So I'd rather have people kind of walk away with something knowledgeable or a technique or an idea that leads to a different idea. So if you take something that I do and twist it around and do it better, then fantastic. You've done your job. You've learned from it. So the beeper is just kind of there to make sure it doesn't end up on some stupid MP3 site. That's pretty much it. And it's this guy right here. There it is. There's the beeper. The test generator is so I can test signal. I actually do a loop through my interface in order so you guys can hear it. So it goes out of my interface, back into the interface, and you're hearing the feed that's coming back into the interface. And I use the test generator to kind of calibrate that. So that's what that is. Thanks for the question, bud. Appreciate it. I was doing a couple test listens, and this pad is not loud enough. This pad needs to be louder. Get the fuck away from me, pad. So we're going to mess with the audio fader. We're going to bump that up a bit, as well as... What's the feed looking like coming into filter there? Oh. Looks like it's actually pretty loud. Look how prominent it is down here. 100, 200. It's not much of a pad. It's not really filling much of a space. Oh well. Maybe we can juice it up a bit. Got a decibel there, huh?
must first fear the dark.
The other thing I noticed is that synth is not loud enough. Probably a bit better mix wise. I'm gonna do some other goofy stuff too with the kicks and whatnot. I think this guy I'm gonna slow him down even more with the pitch shift. I'm gonna process that bitch again, and we're really gonna stretch it out. We're gonna do some other funky stuff too. That is more or less relevant to turning inserts on and off. So this snare, I kind of want it to get, I want to say washed in the reverb, because of my obsessive OCD, compulsive, whatever you want to call it, sight chaining of the reverb. You get a lot of this stuff where it's a hit and then you get the reverb tail afterwards. As an example, this. Now, while it doesn't seem like much, it does make an effect in the track. And while that may seem kind of cool because it's hit right there and then a psh afterwards, I want to know what it sounds like when we bypass that compressor. So I'm going to turn that bypass on just for a sec. Verdict's not really out on that yet. The other one that I'm thinking about is this guy right here, this kick.
In order to appreciate the light, it must first fear the dark.
Definitely like the kick better. I definitely like the kick better, not with the basically self-limiting compression. I like that a lot. That makes me happy camper.
The darkness. In order to appreciate the light, it must first fear the dark.
Wonder if we can fatten up those vocals a little bit. I don't know. Check it out. The snare though, I'm still undecided. Still not sure.
The darkness. In order to appreciate the light, it must first fear the dark. In order to
One thing I forgot was to kind of add some rides to that. Kind of like that tone of that first one. Let's copy one of these guys over. Yeah, to 49. That's where we ended up, right? Starting, right? Did he copy over, or did I F that up? No, looked like he copied. Okay, I'm in the wrong deal for this. There we go. Maybe something like this might be appropriate. I don't know. Let's check it out. I'm afraid of using this ride because it's a bit darker. And this one's a bit brighter, so that might shine through the mix a bit better. What if we did something different than the snare? What if we just kind of made this backwards? Just gonna flip that around. So in between the two rides, and then one after the other ride. I kind of got this down. So one after that ride. Whoop. And then kind of in between the two rides. See how this floats, huh? Nothing in ride group. Well, let's move that over to ride group, shall we? Where was that ride at? There it is. There's ride group. Oh, shit, son, move it over. No. Ride group. Phone player. All right, let's see how that works now. One reason why this distortion makes it louder, well, not so much a reason as a result on what loudness is. It'll show incoming peak and incoming RMS, and it'll show outgoing peak and outgoing RMS. The darker one being RMS, so the distortion in a way kind of compresses it, I guess, because I don't have a limiter on there, no compression. And so the RMS will be close to the peak, which means it'll sound louder, And if you do a rough mix with your plugins like I did there, so let's say we have our plugin and we do kind of like a rough mix. First of all, it's going to keep your signal chain clean. You're not going to be clipping every plugin, which can mess you up down the road. But aside from that, when you get to the fader part of it, we have really high resolution right here, and we start to lose the resolution as we go down. And shift ain't going to save you down here. Like if you know the quick keys for Cubase, shift allows you to do kind of fine movements. That ain't going to save you down there as much as it is up here. Mixing, especially when you're going into the really, really like small movement phase of fixing, is all going to be about fader resolution. And that's kind of one of those things that's carried over from like an analog mix to a digital mixer. That resolution is key, which is why you don't screw around too much with huge fader movements. I also run into this a lot with live mixing as well.
The darkness. In order to appreciate the light, you must first fear the dark.
I'm just being stupid. I knew better to mess with that. I knew better than to mess with that. Oh well. Let me try something else. Try something else though. I'm gonna goof around a little bit more with the compressor. like a lot of other things, jury's still out on that one. I think that might help enhance the mix and stuff, though. I've got a lot of A and E going on over here, which is kind of funny because it's a TV channel. It's late. Don't judge me. So, there's kind of our screech. This nine needs to kind of open up into something else, though. It needs to be just more than the screech and whatnot. So I don't really know right now where it's going to end up, but I know it's going to end up somewhere. It's got to land somewhere. Tracks are like cats. Oh no, tracks aren't like cats. They don't end on their feet. They're like people. They just land somewhere with a splat. Just nope. Yours is the one that's not splatting. That's pretty much it. Yeah. Let's take all this. No, I don't want to resize it and get the fuck out of here. What makes you think I want to resize that, Cubase? There we go. No, that didn't do it for me either. You're fucking killing me, Cubase. Hold on a sec, though. There we go. I think we'll probably end up using this as kind of a bass, percussion, and rhythm. And we'll kind of look for a synth to kind of fill that in. Cool. There's that. Last time I remember, we were looking on the virus for something to fill with that. Maybe, I guess. I wonder how I can thicken that fucker out. Whoops. Don't mind me, I'm just being stupid. think I'm going to do a inversion on this chord right here. It's not gonna be so much. It's not gonna be so much an inversion as it is kind of just taking that G, I guess, and dropping it in an octave. Whoop-de-doo. Our little melody's coming together a bit, though. Showed a little bit of promise, but it's going downhill pretty quick, which is kind of a bummer. Kind of a bummer.
The darkness. In order to appreciate the light, you must first fear the dark.
That's just gonna be all for tonight, and I can't figure this out. And I don't really know what else to do. I'll find something to do with the rest of this. I could do some other tricky stuff. You know, kind of make it a track. I'm tired. I haven't gotten any sleep for the past couple days. So, yeah, I'm thinking that'll probably be about it for now. So, you kids have fun.